Welcome to all you Librans. Welcome for your monthly horoscope for the sign of Libra for June 2014. Now, last month it was all about your ruler, Venus. Now this month it's all about Mercury, the planet of thinking, ideas, communication. And for you it's going to be a lot about thinking and new ideas. What does it mean for the Libra? So, Mercury is going to be in two different signs during the month of June. It's going to start to come into your 10th house in Cancer up until 3 degrees, the very beginning of the month. So it's in Cancer up until 3 degrees, and then it goes backwards on the 8th of the month. And when it goes backwards, it goes back in the sign of Gemini for the rest of the month. So it's only next month that it's going to go direct again. What does it mean? It means that at the beginning of the month you will see a bit of a sneak preview, what the result is or what the ultimate goal is of this retrograde. And for you, the goal will be to improve for most people it will be your work situation, or how you want to be seen by other people. On a social level, because the 10th house is the highest point of your horoscope, and Mercury there on the highest point of the horoscope means that your thoughts will be on work, on 10th house issues. And so there is, in the beginning of the month, a bit of a sneak preview of how next month will be, and with next month I mean July. Because there are changes that will have to do with work situations. Now, the work that has to be done on a very mental level is in your 9th house, because as from the 8th Mercury of June, Mercury goes backwards and it goes in Gemini for the rest of for the whole month in your 9th house. So there is where you experience Libra, the Mercury retrograde. So actually, if the Mercury retrograde is done there with awareness and with work on that particular area, the consequence of work and improving work will be better. So what is the work that needs to be done with the Mercury retrograde? Well, the work is very mental, of course. And it's a time when a lot of people think it is annoying because the thinking processes slow down, the communications slow down. But for everyone it's different. These are only general horoscopes. But now this Mercury is in a very strong sign. It's in Gemini and it likes it there enormously. It's in its own sign. So that makes in general the retrograde already less annoying. Now in the 9th house it can cause a bit of a problem when you, for instance, travel a lot. If you do have to travel a lot for your job, for instance, it can mean that, so on this level, because the 9th house is a lot of levels, but on this level it means slowing down of that. So be aware of that and don't try to, if you are aware of it, you already are being less annoyed, I think, because then you expect it and then it's not all that bad. But expect that some delays can occur in that area. If you're not traveling at all, it simply has to do with your mind that slows down. It simply has to do with, and the slowing down goes together with a focusing and goes together with intensity. So it's never bad because it has to be the way it has to be. But it has a purpose. It's not to annoy you, but it's to make you slow down. And what is 9th house? It's your belief system. So a lot of Libras will revisit maybe an older belief system they had when they were younger, or they are going to review what they believe in life. So the 9th house is an enormous important house in astrology, because it's the house of astrology, it's the house of God, it's the house of higher consciousness. In other words, when that house is okay, when the moral is okay, when the intentions, the visions are okay, all the rest of the horoscope benefit from that. That's why people with good 9th houses are much more happier, because they start on a level that is quite high, and they can justify also what they do, because it has this higher connection with God, if you believe in God, or with the cosmos, if you believe in that the universe has its unity. Now, it can mean simply that you are going to read a book about astrology, or about things that have to do with philosophies, or that has to do with higher consciousness, or that has to do with spirituality. Maybe you're going to reread. Why because it's going backwards. So maybe a book that you haven't been read for 20 years ago, you're going to reread it, and you're going to find new things in it. It is quite often, isn't it, when we see or re-see a movie or a book, we see other things, and that's really normal because you have evolved. So it can simply mean for you, the Mercury retrograde, that you are changing or revisiting old views, or changing your views upon life and upon the things. So because it is our belief system, and that will next month have its consequences on your work, strangely enough. So you will be able to maybe change things that you want to do, that considers work, and that considers how you want to be seen in the world, because that's the 10th house. So a very philosophical, spiritual time for the Librans. It's not so much that there are going to be things that you actively do. It's a very mercurial time, in a very you could say in a very intellectual house, which is the 9th house. But also a spiritual house. So it will be finding the detail in the bigger picture almost for the Librans. So it could be a very interesting time for people who are really seeking for answers on a more broader level, and finding also meaning there on a spiritual level. Why do things happen the way that they do happen? And standing still with that. So I think for a lot of Librans, it will be an interesting time. And the point that Mercury goes retrograde is at 3 degrees of Cancer. So that's in your 10th house. It goes backwards. And on that particular month, degree, there is a new moon as well, which is at 5 degrees of Cancer, a new moon there at the end of the month, around the 27th. So it all points to that 10th house, to that house of work. New moons are new beginnings, fresh starts. So not necessarily a new job, but another view that you will have in general upon life, and you carry that along with your insights, with how you want to how you want to be seen in the world, and how you want to work, and how you don't want to work. There is also a fixed star on that particular point on 3 degrees of Cancer, which is called Propus, Propus, and that star as well is all about Mercury, is all about ideas, is all about making it reasonable and acceptable, practical and smart, intelligent. So in other words, you might have ideas to change some things that considers your career, but that is quite practical and that is quite reasonable. So that's always nice, isn't it? What about if we have ideas and we can't even put them into practice? Then it's almost a waste of time, you could say. But with this, it won't be the case. So wishing you a lot of luck and a lot of a good month for the month of June for the Librans. Thank you for listening. If you want a reading, get in touch. You'll find all the details below. But again, thanks for watching and see you next month. Bye bye.